Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm very excited to bring you a look at the brand new Transformers Masterpiece Gattai, number 02, Trainbot Getsuei. As the number implies, this is the second Trainbot to be released in this Masterpiece Gattai, or MPG series. For those wondering, MPG is a subset of Transformers Masterpiece dealing specifically with combiners. Now, this is the first combiner they've done so far. I guess sales and time will tell if they actually continue this subline. But we know we are at least getting the first 6 Trainbots to combine into the combiner Raiden. And Getsuei is the second one to be released. These are coming out, say a few months from one another, which means it'll probably take at least a year to complete the whole thing, which on the one side is a little disappointing, right? Because you want to get it now and, build a combiner. But considering these guys all cost, over $100, my wallet appreciates spacing it out a little bit, especially with all the crazy stuff coming up, HasLabs and new releases. I don't mind it being spread a little bit. That being said, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at Getsuei's packaging, then we'll open it up, get a nice look at all his pretty instructions, all that. Then we'll see Getsuei himself in both his vehicle and robot modes. I'll be doing plenty of group shots with his teammate, Shouki. Then we're going to be transforming him to his leg mode for the Raiden combiner. And then lastly, at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Getsuei comes in packaging very similar to the one that Shouki came in. It's just a long Masterpiece style box because he does come packaged in train mode. These guys are your HO scale realistic model trains. So they're all supposed to be in scale with one another. They all come on a standard size track. So this guy includes 2 track segments like Shouki did. And those track segments are compatible with the universal armature, just like Shouki's, which is really cool because that means you get to have a flying train mode. All right, so the front of the box, we get our MPG symbol, we get the Transformers logo right there, we get his number, his name, a picture of the train mode, and then a close-up shot of the robot mode. Up here, just more logos and his name again. On this end of the box, we get the train mode, just a regular side shot. And then on this side, we get another shot of the robot. And we get to the back, which just kind of lays out everything this guy comes with, talks a bit about him. Now, I can't read Japanese, so, not going to know everything that this says. But, let's see, they show off his weapon right here, say that he's fully posable. They show off his scale compared to Shouki, which does look like he's a little bit shorter, which is fine. I mean, I think Shouki's supposed to be a little taller anyway. It shows the front of his vehicle mode. Then this shows his pantographs. And I'll be honest, I had to look that up. I didn't know what a pantograph was. So that is these guys right here, these little apparati on the top of the train. I'm sure you guys have seen them before on old trains. And they're meant to connect to the powered cables that run over top of the train. So kind of like those little city trolleys, it just connects to those, lets the train run along it. So yeah, those are called pantographs. Who knew? I sure didn't. This shows off the actual name of the model of train that this guy is. He's an EF65, specifically EF65 1000. They don't say that there though. And I'm guessing that this just gives a history of the train, which is pretty cool. I know Japan is very, very big on trains, but I have no idea what it says, so sorry. This shows a contents of the box. So you get the train, you get the 2 pantographs, the weapon. I think that's the adapter piece for an armature, the 2 tracks, collectible card, and the instruction sheet. And then lastly, they actually show off the leg mode with a mock-up of the Raiden combiner. I really hope the finished product looks a little bit less oddly proportioned than this. They did just recently show a prototype that was utilizing all of the currently revealed train bots and then just kind of some mock-up block areas to fill in the rest of them. I have to say I wasn't overly impressed by what I saw. Hopefully the real thing will look better, because I really would hate to invest probably over $1,000 in these guys before it's all said and done, and then be very disappointed with the final result. We'll see how it goes. If anything, even if Raiden turns out to be kind of bunk, so far the train bots have not failed to impress. So, maybe I'll just end up keeping them in their individual bot modes. All right, so the box, as is the norm for a Masterpiece box, is very impressive. It's very nice to look at and just feels very premium. It feels like an expensive model train or transforming robot. And you want to feel that way when you spend $100 to $150 or so on this thing. Alright, so as nice as the box is, though, it is now time to open it up and see what's inside. Okay, now we get the big instruction sheet for Getsuei here. And it starts out with just your logos, the character's name, all that. Masterpiece number. This opens up. Nice glossy paper. So right here, kind of hard to do, but this shows you the contents of the box. Or yeah, shows you everything that comes in the box there. Don't know what all that text is. Then this shows you, I guess, just a shot of him in the cartoon and comparing his robot mode to that. And then doing the same for the train mode, showing off how it can, simulate flying over the train track. And this just shows the robot mode, the vehicle mode, the Gattai mode, against like a little silhouette of the presumably, finished Raiden combiner. I think this is telling you that this is supposed to be the front of the train. So you're basically identifying, there's like little nubs on both ends right here. And you're identifying like the nub that's closest to this little partial circle indentation. I think that's what it's trying to tell you. It's got an arrow going this way. This is weapon storage, which is really easy. You just like lift the back of the train face up, stick the gun in there and close it, which is really nice. This shows you how to attach his little extra train bits there. Shows you how to connect train tracks together, how to connect the trains together. Running out of room here. Highlights the little connector piece you use for that. Let's see that. What's this? This shows you how to connect his little clip to allow him to be placed on one of the little floaty stands. This shows you. It's just showing you front to back again, and then we finally get to the transformation. Sorry, I know this is like probably really close up, but it's a big instruction sheet. So it's doing that robot transformation first. It takes quite a few steps, so it continues on the back here. Oh, jeez. All right. Goes all the way to like here. You finally get the robot mode. Shows you how to place his gun in his hand or fold it up and start on his back. And then we get the transformation to his Gattai mode or his leg mode. And unlike Shouki, who, his Gattai mode started from his robot mode and went to a torso, this is start from the train mode. It actually makes sense because it's pretty much the train mode with a few things flipped out or, bent. So, we'll do the same. We'll go from the train mode just to make things not super complicated. And yeah, that's the instruction book. Now, interestingly, it came with a little addendum. It's this little piece of paper right here. And I guess they felt the need to clarify some steps that sometime late in the design stage they felt wasn't super clear. So it just kind of goes into more detail. Again, it would help if I could actually read this, but I can more or less tell from the pictures what they want me to do. So there's that. Just one-sided, so there wasn't a whole lot they wanted to point out or change, but there was a little bit. And then lastly, we get a very cool collector card for this guy, just like we do with any Takara Masterpiece figure. So we get him in his train and robot modes, you get his name, MPG, all that. Really nice shot of him riding against like a full moon at night, it's pretty cool. Then get some bio stuff that I can't read, and some tech specs, which not very flattering. Boy, he's supposed to be impressive, but like strength of 5, endurance of 5, fire blast of 4, rank of 3. Oh, he's just a lackey, isn't he? That's a shame. They are not doing my man justice. I'm guessing these are the same stats as the original toy, but I obviously don't own. I'd love to, but I don't. So yeah, man, Orville Getsuei, man, he's just like cannon fodder. Poor guy. Okay, now we're going to see the other contents of the box. So here, of course, is Getsuei in train mode. And here's that circular indentation I mentioned that denotes which side's supposed to actually be the front there. We get 2 pieces of train track. We get the little clear clip for attaching to a flight stand, his rifle, and then the 2 pantographs. So, yeah, he doesn't have as many accessories as Shouki did, but it's okay. Shouki is the leader, and he's big, and he's going to have a little more flair to him. This guy, he's a train. Turns into a train, and that's okay. All right, so the first thing I want to show off is the weapon storage, because I love the simplicity of this and how well it works and how just unobtrusive it is. So you go ahead, take the back end, just simply lift it up. You take the rifle, and you slide it forward, and it's going to like clip in these little indentations here. I don't know how well you can see it, but you just push it forward and it'll just kind of seat in there like so. Oh, might help if I put it the other way so the handle's not dragging. Okay, there you go, like that. And then you simply close this up. It even like clips on to the rifle a little bit to hold everything securely in place. And I love that because it's completely out of the way, doesn't, distract from anything, still rolls like a dream. You feel that? So nice. You can't feel it, but you can sense how good it is. You can hear it. Let's go ahead and test the pantographs for maximum train accuracy. So he gets these just kind of empty gray recesses. It's kind of funny they went out of their way to paint those, right? All right, and pantographs, the holes in them are actually asymmetrical. So you want them to be like this. Just makes it to where there's a right and a wrong way to attach them, which is kind of cool. Makes, make sure you always attach them the right way. And go like that. These are die cast, by the way, which is a really nice touch. Didn't have to be, but I appreciate, especially, they're such thin pieces. If they were plastic, I'd imagine they'd be rather fragile. So I'm okay with those being die cast. And just adds a nice little bit of perceived quality to the toy. So I like that. All right, then we got our train tracks. The two pieces are the same, so nothing to really worry about. You can attach them either way. Let's go like this. They have little holes in them, which we'll get to here in a moment. All right, and he will sit right on top of the tracks, just like so, with the wheels seated just inside of your rail. Look at that. Am I doing it wrong? I think I'm missing. There we go. All right, so he glides along that rail very nicely. Now, we mentioned the holes. Those are obviously there for the flight stand. Now, something I didn't realize, and I should have realized it, but I didn't until I got this guy open and messed with him. It does not accommodate the same kind of flight stand that Shouki's track does. Well, technically, Shouki's track can accommodate this kind too, because it has both holes. So Shouki's had like these big old rectangular recesses in it that you can put that really big fancy armature from something like the Masterpiece Dinobot in there, which is where I got mine. Well, this one just has little simple ports in it, look like 5mm ports. So technically you can put a lot of things in there. You can put blast effects if you wanted. But that is meant for a much simpler kind of flight stand. And it's something like this. So that just plugs in there. And this, just like the Dinobot one, is something I just happen to have because this one came from Masterpiece Tracks. So, those are the only two Masterpiece toys I own that include stands. So what are the odds? Seriously, what are the odds I have those two? And, they both work for these Trainbots so far. It's like they designed this just for me. They're out there over in Japan. They're like, that one guy, he's real swell. Let's just design these around his collection. That's what I tell myself anyway. This seems a little crooked. It's in there, but it's definitely off a little bit. I'm not sure why. I don't like it. No, well, it's just going to be off, I guess. All right. So, get that. Take your clip. Clip it in. See, there's like a little screw hole there. Take this little nub. Stick it in there. Goes in nice and firm. Make sure we got the front here. And you just plug it in. Adjust it however you want. And there he goes. He is now flying above his track. That might help if I spin it around, huh? I think that looks better. There you go. That's even better. Check him out. Now, technically, even though there's a front and back of this train can go either way. That's why it's designed the way it is. So it's really cool looking. I really, appreciate the whole flying train thing, and I love that they made it a part of these. I still am not crazy about the fact that you have to have a flight stand from something else. I don't know where you would buy this or something like it, or even the one like, the Dinobot one. I don't know if Takara sells those on their side of the pond or whatever, but I don't think we can get those here, at least not easily. At least not these ones. I mean, I'm sure there are other flight stands, but the specific ones they're advertising, they seem to only come with their product, so not sure how else I would get it. So I am lucky that I just happen to have these, but it's also frustrating knowing a lot of people are just not going to be able to utilize this gimmick unless they really go out of their way to track one of these down. And I don't think it really would have killed him to include these. I mean, it might have bumped the price up a little bit, but you're getting a really cool stand out of it. So I think most people would have been okay with that as long as they saw it included the stand. But it is what it is. Still looks really cool in my opinion. Now here we have Shouki's train track and Getsui's connected end to end. And you can see the dividing line right there. Now you may notice something. The third rail, or conductor rail, the metal part they tell you not to touch when you're a kid, very, very different lengths between these two tracks. Like, the actual width of the track piece itself and the connectors are all the same size, but the third rails are much wider on Shouki's. And really just, the other rails are too. They just aren't as consequential because the train doesn't rest on those. These are also those rectangular, divots I told you about that house the larger style armature there, which I guess you would want for a bigger train like Shouki. So these will connect. The problem is, if you want to have, your trains all connected to each other and running along the same railway, well, they're not going to be able to just, run along this thing together. Because once one of the trains hits a third rail setup that isn't the same width as their wheels, they're just going to derail and go all over the place. So I'm not really sure. I'm guessing it's because it's accurate. I guess, the kind of train that Shouki turns into just uses a different track than the one that Getsuei turns into. I'm not a, train enthusiast or anything. And I know that, a big focus for Takara's design team was train accuracy, but at the cost of play value, the cost of the play pattern of actually having them ride along together, they couldn't just, make Getsui's wheels a little further apart to make that happen? It seems weird to me, you know what I mean? Because now we got tracks that, while they can connect, they're not actually compatible. I don't know. It's a shame. I mean, if you're just putting them in a static pose together, it's probably okay. Though, I don't know if this is going to work for having all the trains together. I don't know how many other widths we're going to have on these tracks. Maybe Shouki's the odd one out, and the rest will just be the same width, and you won't have an issue. But if this continues to fluctuate back and forth, well, the tracks are longer than the trains, right? So, if you have them connected end to end, eventually you're just going to have a train that's coming off its tracks. And I'm not sure how that's going to work out. Okay, so I didn't show you this just to complain about the rails or anything, but to show you how to connect these two together. So here's our Trainbot leader, Shouki. As you can see, he's a much larger train, and as we'll see, pretty much bigger robot too, than Mr. Getsuei here. So Shouki has a connector on the back, because he is supposed to be, kind of the engine car, right, the main one. And while this car can obviously function as the front of a train, it can also just be towed either way, right? It can go either way there. It's got connectors on both sides. So you just press the connectors together, like so, and they both pivot, right? Which allows the trains to move around on a track. Oh, not a very strong connection, is it? Well, at least it's not too strong. All right. So you get them on there, and you're gonna have to place this in a way to where neither one is really going on to the other's track, if you know what I mean. So let me try to get this situated. It might take me a second. Shouki, is he on there? I think he's on there now. Okay, let me kind of straighten this all out. Get on the shot. All right, so that's what this looks like. The problem is you can't, that's about as far forward as they can go without taking Getsuei off the rails. Now, going from smaller to bigger won't be a huge issue. He just won't be very secure, but he should keep rolling forward. But if you have one that's going to go the other way, if they were to reverse, oh, you'd hit a problem. Because the second Shouki's wheels start hitting this, he's just going to derail completely. So, I don't know. Again, not sure what the philosophy was. I'm guessing train accuracy, but sometimes you have to fudge reality a little bit to make toys work together. Because that's just how it is. That's how, spatial reality works. So, can't say I'm a fan of the choice. I think they could have just a tiny, tiny bit widen those wheels or something to make all the tracks the same. I, again, don't know why they did what they did. I also don't know why they, went with such a smaller track as far as the length and everything. They could have just used the same track for all of them. Yeah, it would have been a little generic for them all to have the same track, but again, it's supposed to be one continuous thing. So why not have them all be the same length? Give them all those little rectangular, little dips in there so you can connect any kind of flight stand you want to. Why not give Getsuei a bigger flight stand? It doesn't make much sense to me. It seems like they're kind of cutting up their nose to spite their face there, which I will say there are a lot of design teams in Japan, and I'm talking toy industry, video game industry. They'll do that a lot. It's almost like a professional pride thing where they're they know that what they're putting out most people won't agree with, but it's well, this is my art, and if you don't like it, I mean, and to some degree, artistic integrity is very important, but also you are making a product, and I feel, people say like, hey, I want my trains to actually run on the track. And you're like, well, that's not accurate. And that's not what I'm going to do. I'm like, well, it's your product. I hope it sells well enough, And I'm not saying this is going to like bankrupt them. I'm not saying like this won't sell. I mean, most people are going to buy this before they even know the tracks don't line up anyway. And then once they do, they'll be like, well, I already have it, so whatever. I guess that's just what it is. I mean, that's where I'm at right now. I don't know. You tell me what you think about that. Do you think they should have, altered maybe the width of the wheels there, like just moved everything around a little bit to make this work so you can actually have it run smoothly across one continuous track? Or would you rather be accurate, like if you're a big train person? I'd love to know what you guys think on that one. All right, now it's time to transform Getsuei to his robot mode. So the first thing you should do is remove both of the pantographs and the rifle, because they're just going to get in the way during this transformation. All right, so first we take the train. We're looking at the rear end, which is the end without the little crescent-shaped indent there. You lift the face of this up. Now's your chance to take the rifle out if you haven't already. You're going to fold this back on itself, like so. And you are going to separate these panels here and here and pull these out. They're on slides. So let's kind of move out of the way like this. I can let you get that kind of pushed flush. All nice and neat like. All right, now we have to get all this kind of broken away from the top of the train. So you get your fingernails under here, you can actually lift a lot of this up, kind of detach it from the sides. And we are going to start splitting this. And just be very careful how you do this. Take your time, go easy. A lot of small tabs and stuff here that you don't want to break. You can go ahead and lift this up if you want to. That might make your life a little bit easier. You have more room to work with here. Let's go ahead and pull these out. That would actually help a lot. You get these off of there. Come on, buddy. There we go. All right. So kind of get those out to the side so you can start pulling all this apart. You need to like split it in half all the way here to this pelvic area. Just do that. Get these panels just kind of swung out of the way. You're going to bring these hip skirts down on their double hinge like so. Okay, so we're going to take these bits, swing them all the way around, and they plug into that little slot right there. Push them in, seat them nice and flush. Same thing here. All right, so you're getting that, right? Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna flip the feet down, flip these gray panels around, and then bring the feet back up. Same thing on this side, like so. Now, you see the knees are on a slide, so we're going to push them in all the way to straighten the legs out. Okay, it's real fiddly at this point, but it'll all start coming together here in a moment. Just got to trust the process. All right, so these little wheel areas, you're going to fold in half like this, and then you're going to push them down until they click into place. And they'll sit kind of flush against this panel right here. So, same thing on this side. Fold it in half, slide it down, so everything kind of comes together. All right, now you're gonna swing these little kibble areas all the way down toward the ankles. You may have to just kind of fiddle with things a little bit here and there. Take the clearance you need, but you should get something that looks like this. It's all starting to come together, right? You're gonna see this happen a lot right here, where his waist kind of like bending in half. It's actually the ankle joint for the Gattai mode, so it's just going to keep doing that because unfortunately there's nothing to stop it from just swinging out. All right, so we get all this. We're going to flip these about this far, and it's kind of a multi-step thing. So you're going to fold this out, fold that in, and then fold this panel all the way in. It'll tab in a couple places. Now the legs have started to actually come together here. Pretty nice, right? Same thing here. Extend all this out. Fold it in. should all click into place. All right. So here's the lower body. Already starting to come together, right? Looking pretty okay. What's going on here? Something not playing ball. Stay together. All right. There we go. That's the legs. Right, now we can go ahead and flip this back down, and we're going to flip this bit up. Now this can stick pretty well. Now what I find works is getting a fingernail up under the crease in this corner, and then one under this headlamp thing. Just pulling it like that. Pull all the way down, and this bit's going to plug into there. That's why the indent is there. All right, and this is going to swing all the way down, and you're going to feel some resistance, but it should push flush. Can't talk. Right up against the back here. And you have to break these panels free from the front of the train. I recommend kind of pulling out and up. The best way to detach them. This is one of the trickier parts right here. Just be patient and work it free. See how much popped off? Same thing here. There you go. Bring the face of the train down. You're going to rotate it 180 like this. All looking pretty good now, right? These are the robot arms. You're going to extend them out all the way. There you go. And you're going to pull all this out. Just kind of get it out of your way. Now, this is kind of a two-step movement. So you're going to rotate the entire arm inward while rotating this panel that way. One kind of smooth motion until you get something that looks like that. The same thing on this side. So we get this, and we're gonna swing these up. Oh, sorry. Rotate the arms this way. And this way. I'll get it right eventually. Then you swing these up. You think I've never done this before. All right. Sorry for the confusion. All right, so you get them looking like this. You swing the shoulder panels out. Rotate the whole arms again. Panels are facing out like this. And these come down on double hinge. Form like proper shoulders. Flip this down, flip that down. Now to get the head out. The head may stick on you. Sometimes I can get it out without the use of a tool. Sometimes I can't. Looks like today's a good day. I got it out with just my hands. All right, you're gonna look at the back of the forearms. The little panel's gonna flip open, which lets you flip the fist out, fix the fist, rotate it, do what you gotta do. Same thing here. All right, it's all coming together. He's almost done. All right, so you got them all kind of set up. Now we're just gonna collapse this back kibble. So you're gonna push all this together, like so. And now for an accurate robot mode, you're actually going to fold that up. I don't know why that's part of his design. It just is. That's what they want to do with him. All right, so here we get a completed robot mode for Getsuei. And it's a little finicky. You know, you got to get used to it. You got to get used to what holds still, you know, what flops around a little bit. He is a little bit touchy. But once you get him posed up and looking pretty cool, this is the robot mode you get. It's not bad looking. He's definitely a lot smaller than Shouki, but again, Shouki is, you know, he is the leader of the team, so he's going to tend to be bigger. I will say he does have a pretty excessive amount of kibble on the backs of his legs. It's not atrociously bad, but it's substantial. Does at least help balance him because these wheel bits serve as like heel spurs for him. Other than that, posability is quite nice. You got the head on a ball joint, like you'd expect. It does have some slight clearance issues because of these raised bits around the shoulders. So I'll have to kind of look up when it looks to the side. It's unfortunate. You have your universal shoulders, kind of an added shoulder hinge because of that transformation. The universal shoulders, the bicep swivel. Now what's cool is that these panels, they can kind of rotate out of the way to give him the clearance he needs to move his arms around more. It's a double elbow bend, which is nice. Wrist swivel. Functional fingers, at least the first 4 fingers. Thumb's stationary, but that's all right. It's got a little hand. He does have a full waist swivel. Just kidding. He has no waist swivel. I thought he did. Am I going crazy? Let me make sure. No, I guess he has no waist swivel. All right, well, no waist swivel. There you go. It's because of his combiner joint being right there. So that may be a bit of a buzzkill for you. He does have universal hips, and the thigh skirts do move out of the way, or the hip skirts. Plus, these little bits right here in the pelvic region do lift up, so he can lift his legs up, which is pretty cool. He has a thigh swivel up here as a, I think it's a, I'm going to say single knee bend. I mean, there's another hinge there, but I'm going to say single. I don't think that's supposed to bend with him. And then he has ankle tilt. So he's pretty posable, aside from the lack of a waist articulation. He is finicky, though. I got to tell you, there's just all these little panels and everything here. I mean, Shouki was kind of finicky too, but I feel this guy is just a little bit worse about it. He also has that weird thing where he's bending at the waist there because that ankle joint. He's okay. He is, he's definitely complicated. I know a lot of people that saw the Shouki review, they're like, oh, that's not a masterpiece, that's Generations. I get where you're coming from. Like, I do. It doesn't look particularly extravagant, but I will tell you, he is a finicky, complicated little toy, which is good for complexity and transformation. Not so great for posing, because little panels and things like to come untabbed and move around, so just be aware of that. He is much more a display piece than an action figure, but, if you're spending the kind of money on these things that you would be, you probably already know that. All right, here's his rifle. First, let's go ahead and show it collapsed up against his back. So you just fold it in half like so, and then you plug it in like this. Uses these little triangular bits to plug in. It can go either way, which is pretty cool. Also, if you don't like having this, sticking up, you can always fold it down. It's not very flush, but at least it won't be sticking up like this. Entirely up to you. Like, this is more accurate, but this is a cleaner robot mode. Totally up to you if you want to do that. And then, of course, his rifle can just slot right into the palm of his hand. Traditional Masterpiece style, where it's just like a little slot right in the palm. There we go. There we go. Here he is all armed up. Looking pretty cool. I do like him. I don't like him as much as Shouki. But Shouki's, again, the leader bot, he's going to be cooler. He's just always going to be cooler. I think this guy is very good for what he is. Oh, you can see this little panel trying to come open. Spoilers for the Gattai mode there. Don't ruin it, buddy. I know a lot of people kind of made fun of this guy because of his potbelly-like appearance, and he does have one, right? The way his chest armor kind of folds, it looks like a bit of a potbelly. But he's actually always had that, so it's not like it's a weird thing with this specific toy. That's just how Getsuei looks. You can laugh about it if you want to, but it's the way he's supposed to look. Now, could they have maybe engineered a way to make this flatter if you don't like it? I mean, I guess. But I don't see that to be really necessary. They do at least let you fold that bit up if you want to. I like him. Colors are a little drab for me, but that's, again, that's his colors. So it's not a hit against the toy. He's always looked this way. So I think this is a really good interpretation of that very simple Generation 1 toy and the cartoon model brought to life in modern day. Here's Getsuei once again with his leader Shouki, and you can see he's rocking those really nice upgrade stickers from the Figure King magazine. Official stickers, by the way. So it's not third party, it's something officially licensed by Hasbro for you to spruce up your Shouki with and your Raiden combiner. And I'll say they're quite the pair. Like I said, Shouki is a lot bigger than Getsuei. He's a lot bulkier looking too, and he just does feel a little bit more fleshed out. And I will say, overall, I think he's a little bit more stable of a robot, just because of the way he comes together. Getsuei, again, there's just some things that kind of want to come untabbed a lot. And then he's got the weird, hip bend thing going on, which, it's not too bad. It's mostly just an issue when you're handling him. Something you can easily fix for posing. So, yeah, like I said, not as impressive as Shouki, but I think that's just always going to be the case, that your limb bots are never going to be as cool looking as, like, your big torso bot guy and your team leader. So that's okay. He doesn't have to be as cool as Shouki. Luckily, he doesn't cost as much. He's not a lot less, but one thing that's cool about, Takara, when they do their own releases, they're not beholden to, like, a specific price point. Where, like, everything has to be in a certain size class, which means sometimes, you're going to get a little bit less for your buck because they only have so many categories. With the Masterpiece and stuff, they can just say, all right, this guy's worth this much, this guy's worth this much. And I think that's really cool. because you're not, overpaying for this guy, at least in comparison to the bigger Trainbot. So I am happy about that. I do feel, at least, in relation to Shouki, this guy is more than worth the price. Now, if you want to argue about the price of Masterpiece or toys in general, that could be a different story. But just, for what Masterpiece they're going for, I think he's a great bargain and really does pair well with his leader. Now, luckily, we got 4 more other bots to go. I don't know how I'm going to display them all together in this little setup. It's probably going to have to turn into one of those dining room type situations like the Titan reviews. Especially once I bust out like the full train track. That's going to be huge. I mean, you saw I could barely fit on this table for 2 of them. I got 4 more guys to go. I don't even know if it'll fit on my dining room table. We're going to have to find out. That's going to be quite the endeavor getting all these guys in like one group shot together. But I'm determined to make it work because I really want to show these off for you guys and help you decide if, these are for you. Alright, now it's finally time to transform Getsuei into his Gattai mode, combiner mode, leg mode, whatever you want to call it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lift this little top bit up here. Pry it off, and again, it's kind of a pain to get off. Best just like get your fingernails up underneath these headlamps here and try to separate it. Super easy. There we go. All right. So we're just gonna lift this up like so. Just kind of bend it back. And then we are going to work all this loose. So we're gonna get it to separate right here and here. There you go. Get those to just come apart. And then bend this joint like so. So we bent all this up. Got this kibble just kind of out of the way here. You're gonna take the wheel section here, a little double hinge, push it all the way back till it pops in. Flip this little bit out. Acts as like a heel spur right there. So you're getting something resembling a foot now, right? Looks footy or foot-like. All right, we're gonna lift the back end off. We're gonna separate all these panels. So we're splitting them like right down the middle. Kind of similar to the robot mode. Just be careful. Just gonna go bit by bit. Pulling the pieces apart. Even when they don't really want you to. Just be careful not to break anything, a lot of clear plastic. All right, so get it just kind of split like this. Just slide the wheel sections down. Just gonna like flip these out of the way. Then you're gonna take what are normally the robot legs, separate them from the panels, and push them back together. So you're gonna keep the middle section together, but still keep all your panels and stuff separated. So make sure you can like work all that out there. Might be a bit of a pain to keep the middle together without the sides coming back together, but I believe in you. You can do it. Probably better than I'm doing it right now, but you could do it. Come on, lift up, buddy. Come on, wait. There we go. Now I can push this together again. All right, there we go. That's better. All right, so now we're sitting with something like this. Okay, now let's turn this around. Keep these guys out of the way. You're gonna pull these panels out, flip them down. Here and here. Make sure your tracks are still pulled down all the way. And we're going to close all this back up toward the bottom here. So make sure this folds down. Get everything kind of snap back together where it will. On the top here. There we go. All right. Make sure it's nice, sturdy looking. Everything looks nice here. All right. Okay. So the wheels, you're just going to have kind of bending inward on themselves, just to keep them out of the way. Trying not to drop things like I did. All right, I'll push these together. Close them back up. As far as they'll go anyway. There should be a tab here, yeah. There's a little slot that these will tab into. Just push them in. As far as they'll go. Just be careful not to exert too much force as always. All right, Sorry, it's kind of sloppy. This thing, a lot of little fiddly parts moving around while you're doing this, and things want to come detached, like the top here. All right, so you got all this finally. Then you're just flipping these as flush as they'll go against this little wheel section. And then you have these like little magic panels here that will flip out and become kind of like a faux extension of the side of the train, like so. Not painted, unfortunately, but it's better than leaving a big gap, I suppose. All right. Oh, that's not supposed to come up, is it? There we go. There we go. That was sloppy, I'll admit. This train mode, or sorry, this leg mode is a bit to work with. There we go. So this is what you want it to look like. You got the panel with your circular indent just kind of staying up and trying to stay out of the way. You get everything as kind of smooth and flush as you realistically can here. All right, now let's check this thing out. So it has a knee joint right here. So you can see you're not going to get much bend out of this because there's a lot of clearance issues here. So it's something to keep in mind. And then we also have some ankle tilt with this joint right in here. Now, I will say there's no ratchet in this ankle tilt at all. There's none. So I have serious concerns about the stability of the Raiden combiner once this all goes together. Like, he'll probably more or less balance himself out, but the fact that the ankles can just be moved that easily and there's not even a soft ratchet there, it's a little bit concerning to me. And I don't know. I hope it works out well. Again, I'm still really skeptical of this combine mode. I'm not sure it's going to hold up as well as the individual bots. I hope it does. I hope, my concerns are put to rest and Takara knows what they're doing. But this does feel just a little flimsy so far. You have an ankle joint that has very little resistance on it. You have a knee that, that's the deepest bend you're getting out of this, because these are all in the way. Like, there's not a whole lot you can do. Maybe try to push these out a little more, and you can get something approaching a bend. Now this is all just kind of like sticking out, you know what I mean? It's not looking great, I gotta say. If I just push these out just enough. Yeah, oh God. It's just so messy. It really is. Look at now, the whole thing's splitting apart. I don't know, guys. The torso mode was already like a little questionable with the way it was and the fact that it didn't hold together very well. This has me greatly... look how much this thing just wants to come apart. Now imagine what's going to happen when it has to start bearing a load. Plus the back of it just really doesn't look great. The best thing about it is maybe the little flip out panels here. That's about it. Oh, by the way, these holes are to attach those little like wing gun kibble things that Raiden has on his ankles there. So, yeah, I don't know, guys. I am really not sure about this. And this completes our look at the new MPG-02 Getsuei. Overall, I do like this toy. I don't think it's perfect. I think there are, some oddities with this guy. He is a little bit more finicky than I'd like him to be. And I will say I'm really not feeling the leg mode. I don't get the warm fuzzies from that, at all. Not only is it aesthetically just kind of not great, the way everything's just kind of folded and slapped on there, especially in the back, but it seems really weak. For one, the knee can't bend without you mistransforming the thing and having the panels all puffed out and looking silly. You get just the slightest knee bend there. And then the ankle, while he does have an ankle tilt, it's pretty weak. So I'm not really having the best feeling about this, complete Gattai mode for the whole team. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it turns out, better than I expected. But I'm starting to think this insistence on, that train accuracy and everything is really going to hurt the final product. The robot modes are fine so far. Even though I don't think his is as good as Shouki's, it's still quite good. And, it's stable enough, it's posable, and you do have some display options as far as how you want to keep, his back kibble and everything. So, as an individual release, I think he's quite good. If you're just looking for the train mode and the robot mode, I think he's really good. The leg mode, I think it's just too soon to tell. I could say I don't think it looks great, but as long as it's really functional, I care more about that. And of course, we got to see how it looks with all that like extra kibble that's going to be slapped on the ankle and everything. I know a lot of people aren't crazy about that. How it went from like nice, sleek little cannons with wingtips on them to like just chunks of boxcar. I don't know. We'll have to see how that looks. So I do like this. Whether or not I recommend getting it, I mean, it really just depends. I would mostly recommend this if you're okay with the idea of just having Getsuei like as a cool toy, or having him as a really cool train that can attach to other trains. If you're hoping that the Raiden combiner is going to be good, I would be very skeptical. Like, if you buy this in the hopes of building Raiden, just know that the combiner mode may be very disappointing. I'm starting to get the feeling it will be. And I hate saying that, but I'm not really having a lot of confidence. Plus, we did see that prototype of him kind of slapped together, and while it didn't have all the finished products attached, it had kind of like placeholder pieces, and I mean, it looked kind of awkward and blocky and oddly proportioned, and I don't think it's going to work out as well as I'd like. It still makes me think that maybe Raiden should have been done first in the Generations line, right? Where your vehicle accuracy is not only focused on as much as usually just kind of not allowed because they don't pay licensing fees on like $20, $30 toys. So, you know, I don't know. I think I would have preferred getting this team overall in Generations first to have them test the concept, and then they could take some of those ideas, you know, what worked, what didn't work, and slap it on Masterpiece. Because right now, I feel like the end result is not going to be up to people's, you know, satisfaction, and I think we're going to end up going in pretty heavily on this financially, just to be very disappointed with how it all turns out. So yeah, I really mostly recommend this if you just want a really cool Trainbot, because I think that if you are looking for the combiner, you may be very sorely disappointed with your purchase. I'd love to be wrong, but that's just my feeling right now. Of course, this is all just how I feel about Getsuei and, you know, his future as a combiner component. Now I want to know what you all think of this. Do you think this is a solid toy? Are you a fan of the train mode, the robot mode, even the Gattai or leg mode? Or do you not like this? You just think it's too expensive, maybe you prefer that third-party one more that kind of puts more of a focus on like the combining aspect, or maybe you're just not interested in the Trainbots or Raiden as a whole. Any and all feedback is always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the brand new Transformers Masterpiece Gattai number 02 Getsuei. And with all that said, I will see you next time.